First of all, it's not easy as a foreign coach. I'm lucky because I came to Buriram as an assistant. So I got to learn the club, and I learned in the best club in Thailand with the best academy, the best president, you know, everything about facilities was fantastic. So I'm lucky that I got that. Maybe if I'd have come directly into another club without this experience, maybe I would have failed. I don't know. And I see many foreign coaches come in, and you can see that maybe they're going to struggle. You have to learn the culture. You have to learn what is a Thai football player. How do Thai players react? How do Thai management react? What do they want to hear from you, want to see from you? And I think you need to be very careful with understanding the culture, but also bringing your own wisdom to the team. And the key thing is, until you can learn some parts of the language, translation is very important, you know. And I've been lucky to have, you know, people like Job at Buriram United, T, who I had with me at Ubon and Port, because the translation is key, huh? Because they're not just translating words, they're translating your emotion. And that's the difference between a good translator and a great one. For me, it's massive respect. I would say, I don't say this lightly, in football, I've worked all over the world in CONCACAF, UEFA and AFC. He's the person I respect the most because he has a vision and he knows how to win. He does everything he can for the club in his province. You have to take that into account, how consistently they win, you know. For me, it's also a matter of respect. He gave me a chance in football in Asia, which I have to always respect. And I'm always in support of that football club, no matter what. I think he's got a good point. He knows his football. Look at the foreign players that Nevin has signed. You look at Diogo. Look at, in the first season, Osmar. Osmar came from Racing Santander, right? He was from Spain. Not a big name, but they looked at the player, and you know, he went to FC Seoul, played for nearly 8 years in FC Seoul. Sometimes you can sign a player that's maybe older, has a good CV or a long CV. But the question is, do they have the quality still? Do they have the desire, the fight still to do well? And so I believe like sometimes it's better to find a foreign player a little bit younger, a little bit less name that needs to build a name up a bit more. Look at, again, with Frank Achimpong, the Osmar, Diogo. These are players that people didn't know much about, right? They came in and did super jobs at the right age. And so I think this is, the recruitment policy is very difficult in football. Sometimes you take a player who's older because you can see it's a strong CV and it looks good. You feel like it's a guarantee. But maybe the age, they've lost the desire to do really well or to make something more. Whereas I think Buriram's foreign players still have a place to climb in the quality. And so I agree with him on that sense. But it's not easy to find players like that have still got potential to grow a little bit more. He can't be wrong. He wins many titles and he signs good foreign players all the time. So he cannot be wrong. So how do you disagree with a guy like that? No, I enjoyed my time at Port FC. The fans were fantastic to me, by the way, really fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The owners, you can never criticize the owners because they're committed to football in Thailand, not just for Port, but for the country, you know, for the national team, now for the federation. So you can't criticize. And sometimes two styles maybe don't mix, you know. I'm pleased with the work I did at Port. We lost the one game. Maybe too many draws, a little bit. But I like the style we had. We were pressing, aggressive, set pieces. You know, I wish we could have won a few more games than draw some. But there was only one loss in that time in the league and FA Cup. It was against BG away, and it was a red card early on. But I think we lost that game 4-2. I wouldn't say there was any problems at all. I mean, I've got big respect for the owners. They do a lot for Thai football. They did a lot for me. And so for me, it's no problem. I wish them well. The fans, again, were fantastic to me. And I'm sure the club now is pushing for a title now. They're in the title race. You know, the owners are with the Thai FA at the management level. So one thing you have to say about Madam Pang and the owners of Port is that they are committed to football. So some people say this or that, but for me, they have a big commitment to football, and you have to respect that. When you Port have very good players, but so do BG, and so do Bangkok United. But the difference is with Buriram is they understand how to win a title. And maybe sometimes winning the first title, never mind a cup or FA or league, but winning a league title, maybe the first one is the hardest one, you know. And once you've won the first one, you become a little bit more experienced. This is why Kunevin is so successful, because he knows how to do it. It doesn't matter about the coach, because the philosophy of Buriram is Kunevin and his expertise, and the coach comes in and has to understand the culture and the philosophy and work in that and coach. But teams that haven't got the title yet, the first one is if they win the first one, then the second one, they always say the next one is more difficult, but it's not, because you learn how to win. Buriram, it's almost like they don't know how to lose, you know, when you watch them play. Even when I watch TV and I watch Buriram, they can be losing with 1 minute to go, and I still feel they'll draw or win. And if you look at that, you can compare Buriram, you know, and Kunevin to Alex Ferguson in this sense, because they never say die to the last kick of the game. You know yourself, if you see Buriram 1 goal down, even in injury time, added time, you still expect chances to come. This comes from the owner. It comes from the owner, because he's used to that success. And when other teams get that success, like Bangkok United or Port, they will be able to add that also. I don't think there's an issue. I think it's just winning the first one. You know, it's very difficult when you have Buriram United in your league. But maybe if Buriram United wasn't there, more teams would have won titles, right? I don't think there's an issue. I think it's just getting the first title and then becoming more comfortable with winning titles. I think they can do it. They can do it this year. Bangkok United, BG, Port, Buriram, they all have an opportunity to win this year. I just think it's very difficult to beat Buriram. But I do believe Port can and deserve to win a title. And I think they will at some point. We'll see when. One thing is very difficult to coach in football is natural goal scoring predator instincts, you know, where to be at the right time and the right place and the timing. It's very difficult to coach that. And Teresak had that from the start. As soon as I saw him, I knew straight away he'd got that instinct in him. Madame signed him, and he'd been with the national team, the under-23s. He's also very coachable. He's a good boy. He listens. He's athletic. He can both feet, left foot, right foot. He can head. You know, I think he's got a massive future. I like him so much, and there was no way I ever wanted to loan him. But loaning him or not wouldn't be my decision at Port. I would just coach the team. The management would decide that. But we all agreed that he should stay with us, and you can see now he's got a big future. Not that I know of, but I'm sure there would be many interests from many teams, for sure. Not that I was aware of. For me, it was always with the first team, and I never knew if there were any other clubs asking to loan him. I'm sure probably many clubs would have liked to have taken him, but I'm sure the owners of Port didn't want to, because they know he could still help the team. I didn't really need to, because he was with the team and he was playing in the pre-season and playing in the regular season. So we never really had that discussion, because I didn't hear of anything to talk about except how's he training, how's he playing. So I don't know of any interest in him. I'm sure there was, but I don't know. I can't speak for the club to another club and say we reject. I'm the coach. It's not my job. But if someone says to me, do you want to keep him with us? Absolutely yes, because he's got a big future. And I think he has shown that now. You know, he scored a hat-trick, didn't he? A few weeks ago, he scored a hat-trick. Because he listens. He's coachable. He doesn't have any attitude. This is why Siraj, from when he was at Ubon in T2, was called to the national team. And if you remember, he scored the winning goal for the Suzuki Cup for Zico when he was still a T2 player, you know. And Ton, he's got all the abilities in the world, but maybe one of his best abilities is his character. Because this character is so good, so professional, so nice human being, he's going to keep getting better because he listens. You know, I think the youth development's huge. And again, if you look at Buriram, their academy is fantastic. Buriram always win trophies, but they always produce players too. You know, you can look at the players that have come through their academy, and it's the same, I think, throughout, is that, you know, some of the T3 clubs giving chances to younger players than older senior players maybe is a good idea. You're right, I mean, I've worked at the highest level with, you know, lights of Buriram and Muntong and Port, and then I even went down to T3 because of the challenge that I liked, and so I saw both sides. For fixing it, I think it's the fans are great, the coverage is great, the commitment's good. You know, the youth development is great in some places, but maybe can be better, and so maybe some more support for the T3 clubs, which I do think the new Thai FA will maybe push the support for that. When I went to Ubon, everybody was surprised, right? Because I'd coached in T1 for two big clubs, and I went down to third division, which some people have said, you know, it's a crazy decision to do that. But I was always confident because at the time Ubon were ambitious. I was able to work closely with the president. I feel like it's a good league, T3. It's a difficult league to be promoted from because you must go through, win your league or come second and then go into the Champions League. So that's a difficult, really difficult process to do. And at Ubon we were able to, you know, when I got there, I think we were in 6th or 7th place at Ubon, and we caught up to the top and then won the playoffs and then promoted again from T2. So it can be done. For me, I was never scared of the challenge. It was always something I wanted to do. Yeah, well, I've got big emotions for Siraj because when we took him from BEC a long time back and he came to us, we just saw a big, strong guy. And the temptation with a big, strong guy is to place him at number 9 with his back to goal and be strong, hold the ball up. But we know this is not Siraj's strength. Siraj's strength is the running game, the power running. And so we use Siraj on the left side of front 2 strikers, and he can play on the left or right side of front 2 or front 3. But he was never a central guy. So we developed him into running into the channels and getting behind people. Maybe Siraj is one of his best strengths wasn't scoring goals. It was driving into areas and pulling the ball back for assists. This was one of his best attributes. And so another guy that he needed to learn how to use his power. We showed him how to use his power more, and now you can see he's got a good career. I'm pleased now he's at Lampoon doing well. Well, at the stage when Muntong bought him from Ubon, there was no other player in Thailand doing what he could do. Striker, okay, you had Mui, who's class. Adasaik, great striker, but Siraj was different to those two. He was more wide, powerful striker. And Siraj had the one thing in football that you should always try to find from players is penetration. Siraj could penetrate many times, and so that there was no other player like that. Chanatip can penetrate with his dribbling and things like this, but Siraj could penetrate with power and running. There was nobody like that at that time, nobody like that. And so when it came to the time to sell him, my view with the player is, if he can move up, okay, I understand. I wish them good luck, and maybe they can remember what we did for them. Yesterday I met Siraj's agent, and he sent a picture and he's sent back out, it's Papa, you know, because we took him from a young age and we made sure that he could develop the attributes of his game. And so I think that the reason his price was so high, power and penetration, and there wasn't at that time, not many players could do that. I think it's a difficult situation for clubs because you get caught up with success and development of players. And the truth is you need a balance of both because you want the youth players to want to come to your academy or you play youth players. And so I think, again, point to Buriram, every year you see new players from the academy making the first team. If they can do it, then T3 teams can, work with an academy and produce some. When I was at Ubon, we brought 2 or 3, 4 players through, like young players, Johnny, Siraj, 2 or 3 other players that you can bring through. And I think it's finding the balance of, okay, you want to be successful, but if you want the success, maybe it's sometimes good to have development line of players that you can produce yourself. Chamburi have always been good at that, developing players. Formerly, BC Tero, you developed a lot of young players, like Chanatip and Puripat and Narbad and Tanaboon. They all came through that program because of Robert Procure and his vision for football. And so I think it's good to identify youth talent and bring them through, which every team I've been at, I've always tried to bring some young players in. Maybe the club with the most freedom was Ubon UMT United because it's T3 and because the owner at the time it wasn't a full professionalized club with many members of staff or expectations. And so I came from T1 to T3 and the remit was you put the team together, you coach them, we'll just let you do that. Which obviously in T1 you can't do it like that because there's owners, there's manager, there's current players. At Ubon it was like a blank canvas. So it was like that. To be honest, I felt freedom in every club. It's just knowing how to work in the clubs, People always like say, was there a problem here or there? No, not really problems. I always felt freedom to coach how I wanted to coach. You would talk to the owners more. At Ubon was different because I had to sign all the players. We had to sign a whole new players at Buriram, Muntong, Port. Players are already there. Well, I would say previously the thing I disliked most was the refereeing, because sometimes you have to ask yourself, hey, what's happening here? Is this fair or is there some really crazy reason? What's been happening? So when VAR came in, for me, it was fantastic, It was fantastic. And so I feel like that's helped Thai football, the VAR, because no more can there be any very bad decisions. Like I saw in India, some very bad decisions. That, like the league table is not accurate because so many bad decisions. I've had goals disallowed, goals scored, penalties disallowed and scored, and red cards, yes and no, that were opposite. But now in the Thai league, you don't see that. And so I think it's better because the players get to learn the true value of the rules and what's happening. So previously I would have said refereeing was always something that concerned me. I don't see that. I don't see that anymore. I would like to see Thai football being screened into other countries too. Like I know in Laos, they have Thai football live and things. Like Indian football is sent to different countries, They'll watch it. But the Thai football is as good, if not better, quality football. So why can't they watch that in the UK or Europe or Australia too? I would like to see that happen. Well, I've just finished the pro license diploma. I did that with the Qatar FA, which was nice to do something different. And I'm having a little bit of time off with my family in my home in the Philippines. But I'm ready to come back to Thailand. I love Thai football. I watch the Thai league, even when I'm not in the Thai league. I still watch the Thai league because I enjoy Thai players. There's many players that I still want to see do well in clubs, and so I'm ready to come back with the right club at the right time. It depends who. And if not, maybe it'll be somewhere else, but it will be in Asia. It could be in Qatar or Saudi. We'll see. But the advantage for me to come and work back in Thailand is I know the league and I know many of the players and I know the culture and I've got a good understanding of the language, so it's easier for me to come and work here.